You gotta love it. You gotta love it. And you're right. This might be the game that you want to bet on because there is an absolutely good chance, if not great chance, that something good is going to happen in the bins for week one. And I think part of that is, Jarvis, that this team is looking to make a statement. Arthur Smith, just like we heard from Brian Snicker, has not shied away from the expectations that he has for this team coming out of the gates. And nor is Terry Fontenot. He had an interesting sit down with the Falcons.com analyst, reporter, and our friend to the show and friend overall, Tori McElhaney. And one of the things he gave insight into as far as how they wanted to prepare QB1 to be ready for game one was really great to hear because, of course, there's been back and forth about should they have played him? Was it okay not to play him during the preseason? So on and so forth. Blah, right? Especially that final preseason game where I guess it had become sort of the dress rehearsal, if you will, of what you used to see back when there were 4 games. That said, you got to love what Terry Fontenot had to say about why the Falcons opted out of playing Desmond Ridder in that last preseason game and being confident they made the right call.
He continues to grow and he continues to get better in all areas of his game. And when you play that position, it's not always just about the physical talent, which we know he has physical talent. And yeah, we see a lot of guys with physical talent that don't quite handle everything the right way, but it's between the ears. It's right here in your chest. It's everything that he's about because there are going to be some ups and downs. There's going to be challenging moments. This season is almost like a roller coaster, and you better be prepared for that. You better be able to handle the pressure and handle the tough times, not only handle the failures, but handle that success. When you're doing really well, you got to be able to handle it the right way. But we believe in Desmond.
Indeed. So how about you, Jarvis? Now, that's Terry Fontenot saying he believes in Desmond. He makes a good case for why they didn't play him in that final preseason game. Does it make you feel better about the Falcons' decision not to play Des Ridder?
I'm still kind of on the same I'm on the same boat. I got to stay on the same boat because here's the thing, T. Like, it's that human being effect, right? I get it, the whole mental aspect of it and being able to handle certain things. They feel like he has the right demeanor for it, which I agree with him. But at the end of the day, in the back of your mind, you know for a fact that that defensive lineman can't touch you. You know for a fact that that defensive tackle can't touch you. You know for a fact that more than likely they're not going to be sending too many pressures in practice because they can't touch you. So it's hard. It's hard to mimic live ball action going to the ground, especially in today's NFL. Randy McMichael, you can go back to his era. Like, they had 2 days and they used to tackle like to the ground and all that stuff. They still couldn't quite touch the quarterback, but you still can kind of get a good view of live game action in practice. So being that he wasn't able to get that, I really feel like there's going to be a little bit of a learning curve in those first couple of series because, like, all right, now that I'm settled in, now that all that stuff that Terry Fontenot is starting to kick in, then it might be doing it, but you're not going to get that from the bat. I really feel like it's going to be a little bit of an adjustment period once the game gets rolling.
Yeah, and I tend to agree. I don't disagree with Terry Fontenot and Arthur Smith's rationale for it. They believe in their QB1 as they should. That's why they decided, hey, we can move on from Marcus Mariota and we don't have to jump up the board this year to get a quarterback, right? And we don't have to go chasing after one who might be on his way to or was a part of the free agency class this year. So we know they're confident. I think the one thing for me is I just would have liked, and your point's well taken as far as being there to see a real defense, not just your defense for reps. But I would have loved to have seen just a little bit more opportunity for him to develop his chemistry with Kyle Pitts before an actual game, because we know the chemistry is there with Drake London, and I'm pretty darn sure it's going to be there with he's in no, let me say it this way. He's in no different position than any other quarterback would have been if any other quarterback would have gotten Mack Hollins or Scotty Miller or anyone from, that new core of wide receivers or even tight ends, if you will, Jonnu Smith included. So that piece I'm not so concerned about. That would have been the case for any quarterback, but Kyle Pitts, that's a little bit different because Des was here last year for 4 games. Kyle was here last year but couldn't play those 4 games, right? So that's where I think it would have been good. Just personally, I would have loved to have seen the connection points between them ahead of time so that when it comes Sunday, there's no question that, hey, if he's your first read or your second read or third read, you still know how to get the ball to KP the same way that you know how to get it to Drake. So I would have liked, it's nice to see 9-5, but 9-8 would have been nice as well.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
I don't think, however, that Desmond Ridder being ready or not ready is the biggest concern on offense by any stretch of the imagination. But do you feel that there's a bigger concern? And I use the term concern loosely because I don't think that we would have had this conversation even a year ago, right, Jarvis, as far as like concern or worry. No, we were concerned and there was worry, right?
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
You can use concern kind of loosely if you do have any on that offensive side of the ball.
Well, I have to go with Matt Bergeron. I think that, or Bergeron. I can't pronounce it like you do. Like, because you put that little twang on it. So I'm just like, I'm gonna go with Matt Bergeron. Here we go. But yeah, he's gonna be birthed into, the NFL. The first start, NFL start, full game is going down, and he didn't play that many snaps either. So, he going to get baptized a little bit too. So I think that's not, like you say, it's not overly concerned because I believe in his talent that he has. I believe in the Falcons taking it, moving up in the second round of the NFL draft to draft him. I get it. I understand why they did that. So I think, but it's like you said, it's going to be an adjustment period, in those first couple of series because it's going to get real. It's going to get real because, Carolina, they might not have the best defense in the world, but they are pretty doggone strong up front. And Mr. Derrick Brown is coming. So Mr. Brown is coming. And hey, just know he's gonna get introduced into the NFL pretty quickly. So, but I think that overall he will adjust, but it's definitely gonna be an adjustment period. So, y'all better strap up.
Yeah, I would say the same. And I think for me, the concern, and I use that term loosely, I probably would call it more intrigue than anything, is to see what, as Shaquille O'Neal would call it, the others are going to do. Because I think we are pretty confident about what Drake London is going to do. And if KP comes out 100%, whether that's game 1, 2, or 3, we're pretty confident he's going to have a bounce back season. And we also know what, although Bijan Robinson hasn't played a regular season snap, I think we all know what he's capable of catching out of the backfield. And we know what Tyler Algier is capable of, and even Cordero Patterson, which we'll find out more information on him and whether or not he's a go come tomorrow, right? So we'll definitely bring you guys any news or updates on that front. But I'm more interested in what does the rest of that core look like, right? Like, what does Mack Hollins look like? What does Scotty Miller look like? Because if Drake London is double teamed, right, where do you go? Like, if they're your second or third reads and Kyle Pitts is covered well, is there enough connectivity? Are those, like, is it a really good core of wide receivers when you step away from Drake London and Kyle Pitts? Like, do you still have a solid core of wide receivers? I think that might be, I won't say my concern, but I may say like my intriguing kind of head scratcher one that goes right behind what you were saying about Matthew Bergeron. Like, I would say the same, very, very intrigued to see what he's going to be able to do with that Carolina defensive front. But on the same token, I think one of the maybe position groups that we haven't talked about a lot is the wide receiver room.
And I think that, and for that reason, I think it's because we've talked about positionless football, pass catchers. Like, I don't like to put the name on a position. I just like, hey, there was a pass catcher, Bijan, Tyler, catch the ball, Kyle Pitts, and all that stuff. But I do believe that just the talent level comes into question because Mack Hollins, he's been a solid guy. He's a guy that readily, openly admits that, hey, I played on special teams on every team that I've been on since I've been in the NFL. So that kind of tells you, like, he wasn't necessarily a go-to guy if you're playing on special teams on the offense. So I think him being thrust into that wide receiver 2 role, I guess, you could throw that in there. And then you got Scotty Miller, who played with Tom Brady. So everybody was like, oh, yeah, he played with Tom Brady. So, okay, but how does he fit into this offense? On a weekly basis. So I think that's what that is. I think you make a really good point. Like, that is something to keep an eye on. Like, how are these guys or the others, as Shaquille, like you said, Shaquille O'Neal says, how do those guys fit into this offense week in and week out? And I think that's going to be pretty fluid, to be honest with you, because Arthur Smith is a guy who's going to change things up from a weekly basis, given what he knows he's going to face. So I'm very interested to see how a guy like Hollins and Scotty Miller. I'm interested to see what the box score looks like at the end of the game on Sunday for sure.
Yeah, and it might be an opportunity for those guys to show and prove, because if we're honest about it, we talk about the defensive front of the Panthers, but we don't really talk about that secondary, because beyond J.C. Horn, I don't really know if there's much to talk about. So this might be an opportunity for the whole pass catcher room for the Falcons to kind of show up and show out. Just saying. But anyway, what do you guys think? I mean, do you still have those same concerns about Des Ridder not playing in that final game of the preseason? Or now that Arthur Smith and Terry Fontenot have both spoken on it? Or are you saying, you know what? I see their rationale. I'm good with it. Let's roll with what they said. And do you have any other concerns other than Matthew Bergeron, other than the wide receiver room, or those behind KP and Drake London and even Bijan Robinson? Let us know, everydayers. You know what to do. Drop a comment in the comment section on YouTube. And of course, don't forget to download ATL Day Ones wherever you download your podcast.